If you didn't even touch something for the last 2 years, probably you won't need it for the rest of your life.
I can think of a couple things.
Yeah.
Hello, Earth citizens. Welcome to EMTV. My name is Courtney, and I'm here again with Steve Kim, who is the director of the Earth Citizen Organization, and we are in Honors Haven in Ellaville, New York. And I invited Steve here today to talk a little bit about how we can be more sustainable at home.
I think that's a great question. Because when we think about sustainability, we usually think about big things such as infrastructure or new technology, a lot of investment, and also complicated international agreement. So when we look at those big things, the mindset behind that is delegating the responsibility to other people, believing that we are not strong enough, we are helpless in regard to such big things like changing the climate or making the whole planet sustainable. The biggest illusion and also limitation that we have to overcome. There are things that we can do in our everyday life that will have a huge impact. I'd like to say 3 things. The first one is don't waste.
That sounds simple.
You heard about this from maybe your kindergarten. And then second is be kind. Also what we learned in our very young age. And third thing is stay healthy naturally. For the third thing, we become aware of how important that is through our painful experience of pandemic. When we develop and maintain our capacity to stay healthy or recover our health in a natural way, not having to depend on high power, high tech, high cost healthcare system, I think that will strengthen our confidence in life in general. So starting from the first one, don't waste. Unofficially, I've been practicing minimalist living throughout my life, but I made it more official. So I set my goal, living with less than 100 items.
Wow.
So it sounds very challenging, right? Very ambitious. I wouldn't say challenging. It was very exciting. It was very joyful. We have been seeking joy by adding things to our life. I found more joy by removing things from my life, creating more space in my life. I wouldn't recommend that to everybody living with less than 100 items. That's very extreme. I reached somewhere around 300 items.
Wow.
I'm not going to that extreme, but still try to minimize. For example, in my room, I have only 1 cup.
No.
So I brought it here. It's a measuring cup.
Only one.
Yeah, only one. This is the only cup that I have in my room. So it's a measuring cup. I don't brush my teeth while I'm drinking coffee. And also, I'm not drinking my coffee while I'm preparing the ingredients for cooking. All the occasions that I can imagine, there's no chance that I need more than 1 cup in my life. Because it's a single cup, I wanted to make it multifunctional. The measuring cup, it serves a lot of different purposes. Maybe your personal aesthetic taste may matter, but to me, it looks pretty.
It's very pretty.
Yeah. It works for me. Another thing, this is a food container that I bring wherever I eat out. The size of plate that they use in a restaurant in the US is about 12 inches. Even without stacking, just to cover the surface area of a 12-inch plate, that's a lot of food. What your desire need may be different from what your physical body really needs. We usually use to-go container.
And I feel guilty about that because I'm using more plastics
Yeah,
to take
so
home.
to-go container every time, right? What about bringing my own container?
And I have so many containers in my cupboard too.
I found this. It's very handy. It's a silicone. It's very soft and also it's collapsible. Another thing is when we look at the food, we already know that we won't finish the whole portion.
Or we know that we shouldn't.
Why do we need to wait until we make a mess on our plate? The amount that I don't need, I put it in the container before I start eating.
Smart.
If I finish eating, then nothing on the plate, so there's no waste. It's good for me and good for the business.
Yep.
And good for the planet as well. And I have another clean meal. We usually use the term leftover. I thought that's not fair for this because it's not leftover.
Right.
I was trying to find a new term for this. Left first.
Left first.
Yes. It's very respectful and appreciative. But another meaning for that is when we have a delicious food in front of us, our attention is totally on the food. And that's very natural, as natural as it is to your dogs or cats. If you can think about the earth before the delicious food, it's not only practice for sustainability. I think there's some spiritual aspect. It's very deep mindfulness practice. When we reduce waste from our life, we will create more space for freedom, more space for creation, even just more space to breathe.
In fact, I think minimalism is very popular these days exactly because of that.
Right. We may think that in order to practice sustainability, we may need to give up the abundance of our life. I think that's another illusion. By just removing waste from our life, we can make our own personal life much more peaceful and less stressful, and make our community much more abundant, and at the same time, make the whole planet more sustainable.
And maybe we don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to go from 10 glasses to one.
Right. I would recommend try to find joy in creating more space in your life, removing things and making things simpler.
I know every time I clean a drawer, I feel better.
Yeah, right. It's very exciting.
It does. My closet, when it's tidy, it feels good.
Statistically, I believe no matter how many things you or anybody have in your house, in your home, about 80% of those things you didn't even touch in the last 2 years. If you didn't even touch something for the last 2 years, probably you won't need it for the rest of your life.
I can think of a couple of things.
Yeah. When you reduce or remove waste from your life, you are not just throwing those things away. You are giving another life to those things and allow them to benefit other people. That will make our community more abundant, more caring, without spending more money, without inventing any new technology, without using any natural resources, and without agreements with other countries. There are things that we can do on a very personal level, but at the same time, it's very beneficial, very enjoyable.
For you and the earth together.
Right.
All right, friends, that's tip number 1. You're going to have to stick around. Check out tip number 2.